We'll guide you through a Python tutorial for beginners with VS Code. If you find this useful, then consider subscribing and liking the video. Now we're handing over the guide to Pauser, who's continuing with it.
Python is one of the best programming languages that you can learn today. It can be used for website, automation, AI, data analysis, games, and much more. Even if you already know another programming language, Python is still a great skill to have because it is used in many different jobs and projects. In this guide, we'll start from the very beginning. We will install Python and then set everything up in VS Code correctly, and then write and run our first Python program. And by the end of this video, you will have everything ready to start learning Python. Let's get started. The first thing that we need to download is Python. So just go ahead and open any web browser to your liking. I'm going to be using Google Chrome, and then in the search bar, just go ahead and search for python.org and then press enter. And now you will land in this interface. So from here, just go ahead and hover your mouse over the download section, and here just go ahead and hover over the Python text here. So these number are the Python version currently available for installing. So just go ahead and click on it to download the setup wizard. And then as for me, I have already downloaded the exe file. So after downloading your exe file, just go ahead and go to your file explorer, and then just go ahead and navigate to the downloads folder from here. And now you will see Python exe file. Just go ahead and double click on it to run the setup wizard, and then your setup wizard will now successfully appear. Now here, make sure to use admin privileges when installing py.exe is selected, and then also toggle on add Python exe to path. This step is very important because it lets your computer find Python from the terminal. If you skip it, some commands later in this tutorial may not work correctly. After checking that box, just go ahead and choose customize installation, and then from here you will get optional feature that you can download. So here you will see the details of what each file does. So just go ahead and keep the options to your liking and then click on next. After that, you can just go ahead and click on the browse here and then select the installation directory for Python. So I'm just gonna leave it at default, and then just go ahead and click on install. Just click on yes if prompted, and then just wait for the installation to finish. The installation only takes a few minutes. And now you will see it is saying setup was successful. So now you can just go ahead and close this. Now that the Python is installed, the next step is to install a code editor. A code editor is where you will write and manage your Python program. There are many editors available, but for this tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and go with Visual Studio Code because it's free, easy to use, and works well for Python development. So just go ahead and open your browser and then go to the new tab, and then just go ahead and search for VS Code and then press enter. And then just go to the official website for Visual Studio Code. And then from here, just go ahead and click on download for your Windows or download for your operating system. And then your setup exe file will be downloaded. So just go ahead and open that setup exe file just like we did earlier, and then just follow the setup step. It is pretty simple. And as for me, I have already installed VS Code. So after installing, just go to your Windows search bar and type VS and open Visual Studio Code from the best match. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open it. And as you can see, I already have a file opened. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open a fresh Visual Studio window. So I'll just go to file and choose new window, and then close the old window. And when you open VS Code for the first time, you will land in this interface. Now you will probably see a welcome page. That's completely normal. You can just go ahead and close it by clicking on the X icon. And on the left side of Visual Studio Code, you will see a vertical toolbar. Here, just go ahead and click on extension, and in the search bar, just go ahead and search for Python and press enter. And from here, just go ahead and select the Python extension, and then it is by Microsoft itself. So just go ahead and download it. So just go ahead and install it. It only takes a few seconds. And as for me, you can see I have already installed. So I can just go ahead and close this by clicking on the X icon. Once it is installed, we are almost ready to start writing Python code. Before creating our first program, it's a good idea to create a folder where all of your Python file will be saved. You can create this folder anywhere you like. So let's say I want to create it in desktop. So I'm just going to minimize and then right click on desktop and click on new and folder. So let's say I want to name my folder to something like Python space files. After that, I'm just gonna go ahead and press enter. The folder name does not matter. The important part is keeping all of your Python file in one place so they are easy to find later on. So now just go ahead and go back to Visual Studio Code, and then we have to open that particular folder in VS Code. To do that, just go ahead and go to the file at the top left, and then here, just go ahead and select open folder. And now your file explorer will successfully open. So navigate to the directory where you have your folder created, which in my case it was desktop, and I had named it Python file. So I'll just double click on it to go inside the folder and then choose select folder. And now you can see the folder will be successfully opened inside of VS Code. And now you can even see the name in the Explorer. Once the folder opens, you will notice that the Explorer panel on the left is empty. That's exactly what we want because we have not created any Python files yet. Now that our project folder is open, let's verify if Python was installed correctly. So just go ahead and go to the terminal at the top and choose a new terminal. And now here, let's go ahead and type the following command. Just go ahead and type Python space double hyphen and version. After that, you can just go ahead and press enter. And if everything is working correctly, you will see Python version number printed on the screen, which is here. Your version may be different, and that's perfectly fine. As long as you see a version number, Python is installed correctly. If you get an error saying that Python was not found, double check that Python was installed correctly and make sure you selected add Python to path during installation. Now let's try something else. Instead of checking version, we will actually start Python. So just go ahead and type py on Windows, or if you are on Mac OS or Linux, you can just go ahead and type Python 3 and then press enter. And now you will notice that the terminal changes. Instead of showing normal command prompt, you will see something like some arrows. This is called Python REPL. Think of it as the place where you can quickly test Python code without creating a file. Anything you type here runs as soon as you press enter. So let's try a simple calculation. So if I type 6 plus 9 and then press enter, you will see Python has successfully returned 15. You can also try another example by just multiplying. So I'm just gonna go ahead and multiply 7 into 8 and then press enter, and you will see it will successfully reply. And you can see Python even works like a calculator. Now let's create our first variable. So now just go ahead and type name space equals to space double quotation and then GuideRealm. After that, you can just go ahead and close the double quotation and then press enter. Nothing will happen yet, and that's expected. This line simply saves the text GuideRealm into a variable called name. To see what's inside the variable, you can just go ahead and type name and then press enter, and then you will see Python will display GuideRealm, which is what I added here. However, this is a quick and easy way to test small pieces of code. However, when you are building a real program, you normally won't use the REPL. Instead, you will save your code inside Python file. Before we do that, you can just go ahead and type quit and then type opening bracket and closing bracket and then press enter, and you will now return to your normal terminal window. The next step is to create our very first Python file. In the Explorer panel on the left hand side, just go ahead and click on the new file icon here, or you can right click on an empty area and choose new file. So when asked for a file name, you can name it something like hello.py and then press enter. Make sure the file ends with .py. This tells Visual Studio Code that it's a Python file. Once the file is created, we are ready to write our first Python program. On the very first line, you can just go ahead and type something like greetings equals hello world. After that, you can just go ahead and press enter, and then in the next line, you can just go ahead and type print and then open the bracket and then type greetings. After that, you can just go ahead and close the bracket, and this program creates a variable called as greeting and stores the text hello world inside of it and then prints that text to the screen. Now that we have written our code, the next step is to save and run it. If you have not already saved the file, you can just go ahead and press Ctrl and S key on your keyboard, and if Visual Studio Code asks you where you want to save the file, make sure it is inside the project folder that you created earlier. Alternatively, you can also go to the file at the top left and choose to save. And once that you have done that, you should also notice that the color in your codes change. For example, the text inside the quotation will have one color and Python command like print will have another. This is called syntax highlighting. It makes your code much easier to read and then also helps you spot mistakes. Now let's run the program. The easiest way to use is the run button. Look at the top right corner of Visual Studio Code and then you should see a small run code button. Just go ahead and click on it once and then Visual Studio Code will automatically open a terminal at the bottom of the screen. And after a few seconds, you should see the output which was hello world in my case. If you see that message, you have successfully written and run your very first Python program. Now let's look at another way to run the same file. Knowing different method can be helpful because some projects use the terminal instead of the run button. So just go ahead and open a new terminal. You can do this by pressing Ctrl and backtick key on your keyboard, and then if you are on Windows, just go ahead and type py space in your file name, which in my case is going to be hello.py. So I'm just going to go ahead and type it exactly. So after typing, you can just go ahead and press enter and you will see it will also be successfully printed. And if you are on Mac OS or Linux, you can just go ahead and type Python 3 and then your file name. This method is one of the most common way to run Python program. You will use it often as you continue learning Python. There is one more way to run your file. In the Explorer panel, find your file that you want to run and then just go ahead and right click on it and choose Run Python File in Terminal. And VS Code will run this file for you once again. And as you can see, all three methods gave the same exact result, which was hello world. Now let's make a small change to our program. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make the change. And after making the change, you can just go ahead and press Ctrl and S key on a keyboard to save it. And now let's run it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and run it by typing py dot and my file name, which is going to be hello.py, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and press enter. Now you should see the output should be hello and then the name was world, so it is printed world. So let's say I want to type GuideRealm instead of world, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the world part and then type GuideRealm. After that, I'm just gonna go ahead and press Ctrl S and then use the run code at the top and you will see it will successfully say hello GuideRealm. Now let's try another example. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write another example. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save it and then I'm just gonna go ahead and open my terminal and then type py.hello.py and then press enter and you will see it is asking what is your name. So let's say if I enter something like GuideRealm and then press enter, you will see it will say welcome GuideRealm. This is your first interactive Python program. Instead of only showing information, your program can now receive information from the user as well. You will also be using the input function a lot in future project. Before we finish the setup, let's look at a few common mistakes that Python users run into. The first mistake is saving the file with the wrong extension. Always make sure your file ends with .py. If it ends with .txt, Python won't recognize it as a Python program. Another common mistake is forgetting to save the file before running it. If your changes don't appear after clicking run, you can just go ahead and press Ctrl S and then run the file again. Also pay special attention to spelling and capitalization. Python treats uppercase and lowercase letters differently. Even one incorrect letter can cause an error. The same goes for quotation mark and parentheses. Also make sure every opening parenthesis has closing parenthesis and every opening quotation mark has a matching closing quotation mark.